Hey y'all, it's St. Pam again. Today I'm going to talk about the allied races. In specific, I'll be talking about the ones joining the Horde. The next video I do will be about those that are joining the Alliance. So let's get started. First up, we're going to look at the High Mountain Tauren. We know a little about them, but there is so much more to learn still. For one thing, I haven't seen anything to suggest exactly why they join with the Horde. I think it makes sense that they do. They have a lot in common with the Mulgore-based Tauren that we're already familiar with. An example is that both the High Mountain and our existing Tauren friends revere the Earth Mother. There could be some interesting role-playing opportunities there due to differences in whatever rituals they have, their customs, things like that. But they are pretty similar to what we're already familiar with. I really am hoping to see the cultural differences due to their separation for so long being played into. An example is, according to Wildpedia, we don't know if they worship or revere the Sky Father as the Tauren that are part of the Horde do. So if they don't, there's already one difference right there. Their hunters also use the skins of their first kill to make drums that they carry with them forever. So there's a couple of things there that we can play with, and I really hope to see it. It's also important to understand that there are different tribes. Even if only one joins the Horde, it is likely that some role players will opt to play as one of the others. Just as you see with trolls, role players who are Shatterspear instead of being Darkspear, and so on and so forth. I am personally in support of this, as long as it's done well. While I have never personally been able to seriously roleplay as a Tauren, I do like their lore. Perhaps the High Mountain Tauren with their antlers will help change that for me, but the biggest issue I've had playing a Tauren is their sheer size. As a general rule, I haven't been able to play something that took up so much of my screen. That's not to say it won't change. That's just been what kept me from doing it in the past. Alright, so next up are the Nightborn, which, again, if you've done the Suramar quests and all, then you know quite a bit about them. We do know that they are essentially night elves that became addicted to magic. So we immediately have one reason that they would potentially join with the Horde. Help from the Blood Elves. Being as that's something that the Blood Elves also went through, was a addiction. It's unlikely that would be the only reason. If you pay attention or you go clicking around on NPCs to see what they have to say, you'll notice that Tyrande has some fairly antagonistic things to say about them. Particularly the way they fell victim to the Nightwell. I imagine that had something to do with their decision. In their time apart from the rest of Azeroth, they have also diverged from their distant cousins, whereas the Night Elves are more natural. They live with their world tree. The Nightborn are city dwellers. So with that in mind, I will be highly disappointed if people opt to play them as though they were just night elves that joined the Horde. By the same token, they should not be roleplayed in the same way Blood Elves are. There are similarities between the two races, but also a great number of differences. What I want to see is people learning about and playing with their cultural differences. I know that I will be. Last but not least are the Zandalari. If you are into troll lore at all, then you should be pretty knowledgeable on this particular tribe. There's no real hint as to why they joined the Horde. That's something that I am really interested to find out. There is, or at least was, a conflict with the Zandalari and the Darkspear. They've been enemies with one another. The Zandalari tried to wipe out the Darkspear, is my understanding. And even after the events in Cataclysm, the Darkspear wouldn't join with them when they attempted to unify all of the tribes again. So I imagine that there's going to be some animosity between those two groups, which should be a lot of fun. Of course, that is just speculation. We don't know what will ultimately bring the Zandalari to us. Perhaps it's as simple as it being a small offshoot from the larger tribe. And I know I can't wait to find out. I want to see why they join. I want to see what brings them to us, and I want to see how much the Darkspear and the Zandalari dislike one another. Now, that's all I have for today. After the next video on the Alliance ones, I will look at each race that is currently and will be available. We'll go over the lore more in depth and how they are or could be roleplayed. With that said, if you've enjoyed this video, then like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions or anything you'd like to see in a future video, please just comment below, message me on Twitter or on my Facebook page. I'm still working on the Discord, so once I have that up, I'll have a section for suggestions specifically. But that's pretty much all I have for you today, so thank you all for watching, and I hope that you have a great night.